And I mentioned earlier that the hidden face of homelessness is something that we talk about often when someone is homeless, but they don't appear to be so. They spend much of their time couch surfing, moving between temporary accommodation, but they don't have a fixed address. On the outside, everything looks fine, but on the inside, it's a very different story. Well, it's a similar scenario with drug addiction for some people. Quite often, somebody who we've known for a long time may well have a drug addiction or be battling with an addiction of some kind, but we've been none the wiser. On the outside, everything looks fine. However, on the inside, it's a very different story. Elizabeth Moldovan is a person who's journeyed the hidden face of drug addiction and today joins me. Elizabeth, thank you for your time. You've written a book called The Prodigal Daughter. Tell us a little bit of your story. You're a mother of 5 children. Yes. You're a wife and you're raising your family, and yet you have an addiction to heroin. How did all that start for you?
I was looking for a good dad for my little 3-year-old son at the time, and I fell in love with him, but he was already an addict.
And that can often be the case for many people, can it? That they come into contact with somebody who they perhaps think is going to be a way forward, but in fact it's not a way forward.
No.
How is it possible? This is the real question. I've read, the book. I've listened to talking to you. How is it possible for 24 years to have an addiction and lots of people not even know about it?
We just hid it from people, and because we were reasonably well dressed and tried to keep it together for most of the time, people didn't know.
And they make many of their judgments about a person from what they see just in front of them.
Yes, it was a false image. Yeah.
So through that period of time, were you all the time hoping I could just get off this? Was that something that you wanted to do, or did it become more real as time went on?
There were a few times where I sought help, but I didn't believe there was anybody that cared enough to help. And by the end of the 24 years, I'd forgotten I had free will, and I thought I was a lost cause.
Look, you just said something there about help. If I were to ask this question, it may sound a bit naive, but is there really help out there?
So much help. So much help.
And it takes on your part the decision to seek it and want it?
That's it. And ask for it. And people will help. There's good psychologists, there's the Salvation Army, there's Wesley Mission, there's counsellors, there's doctors, there's meetings.
So tell me a little bit about how faith, which is important to you, it's not a simple answer. You don't believe just somebody believes and that's it, they can give up the drugs. But how important was faith to you in that journey?
Well, faith was everything. Faith was everything, and Jesus set me free.
And not only set you free, but it gave you the power to be able to handle the difficult times.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, if I call it the cold turkey, the going off, that is not the easiest way to handle any issue, is it?
No,
to stop,
No, it's not. And not with my 3-year-old by my side either, all the time. It was excruciating, but, prayer helped a lot.
And people were important in that story.
Very important. And for me to become reconnected with society as myself and not hiding anymore, being honest about.
I think that's one of the interesting parts of your story, the reconnection, because clearly drug addiction, alcohol, or any one of many things can make you feel cut off, can't it?
Yes, very cut off. And whether that was self-imposed or whether we just withdraw into the darkness and try to hide. But once reconnection happens with other people and with your community, and we all need to be connected, we all need to feel accepted.
Somebody who's watching and they're struggling with drug addiction of some kind.
Yes.
What would you say to them in a sentence or two?
I would say, just ask for help. Ask for help, and God will help you find the right people.
And now, Elizabeth, before we leave today, if there's one thing you'd want to say to people who are battling with drug addiction, or perhaps a parent or someone who's in that difficult situation watching with us today, what would you say?
I would say seek help and only believe, and no matter how bad it is, no matter how dark, there's always hope. Where there's life, there's hope. I
think that's a wonderful word, hope, and one we share together. Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story.